Tonight, our next inductee will receive the Lifetime Service to Wrestling. This man is, as Carmen said, is a class act. I remember him as a young coach. I remember actually as a wrestler when he was at URI. I was at BC, and I remember when he was coaching in Vermont and later in Massachusetts. Tonight, it's a great honor to induct Miro into the Hall of Fame. But we invite a very close friend of his, son, Shane Miro, to come forward to present him the Hall of Fame. Shane. Coach, can we stop running yet?
Good evening, everyone. Anyone who's heard that statement before, please raise your hand. Well, I've got some incredible news for you guys. Not just yesterday, I was walking through the living room of my house, and there, in my recliner, was my dad, asleep in his chair with his feet above his head. I think it's safe to say we can all stop running. We are here tonight to celebrate a very historic event. As a man that I possess incredible admiration for, is getting his just due. As I've been fortunate enough to accompany him on just about every wrestling weekend trip since I was able to walk, I've been meeting new faces who have stories to tell about him. You know, every son grows up wishing their father was a superhero. I was the lucky kid whose dream came true. What you're about to hear from this man is only a small clip of what he has actually done. Many of the people in this room right now have been so heavily affected by this man that their lives changed dramatically. He created a culture of not just winning, but showing that you can win and still be good people and have fun. The family that is here tonight is structured and connected to this one man and all that he has done. I can honestly say that if it were not for him and my mother, I would not have wrestled. If I had not wrestled, I would not be here. Anyone who's ever wrestled for him has heard him say, we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. Now more than ever, it's apparent to me that it's you, Dad, that was here for the long time. We were here for the good time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Raymond Miro.
Shane, I'm telling you, run up here. If you would run that fast when you were wrestling, you might have won Western Mass that year. Anyway, I had to get him on that one. I want to thank everybody. Thank my son. He's been real good. He's survived me. He has my two daughters, Kristen and Kayla. Of course, my wife is still working on that project of 29 years called marriage. And believe me, the people here that are here for me, my friends, know that I am a project. Congratulations to all the inductees, all the families, everybody that's been here. I'm going to need these glasses because I'm in trouble. To all the people who made this event possible, to my wrestlers and coaches, and some of them traveled real far. I traveled from Tampa, Florida to come to see me. I don't know how many times I moved him up a weight, put him in someplace else to take one for the team, and he's still here, so I guess he wanted to be here. I look at this whole thing, and I was trying to think of the speech when Dennis Mulvihill called me back in February, November 2nd. It's a long time. I was very humbled by this, being part of the Massachusetts family after coming from Vermont. Although sometimes I feel I'm still in Vermont out in Western Mass because it's a long ways away out there, but I really enjoyed being part of that Massachusetts family. But as I looked at this, I kind of titled it, How Lucky Can a Guy Be? I was born in New York City and moved to Long Island in 2.5. We moved to Brentwood for 3 miles in any direction, I wouldn't be standing here today. Brentwood was a town where you were always running, chasing, or being chased. I was being chased till I was about 15 years old. And anybody that's been around that town knows it's pretty tough now. I got cut from the basketball team in junior high, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. Very, very upset in 9th grade. I thought I was good enough to make the team, but didn't make it. So I was asked by the wrestling coach to come out. So I went home and told my parents, the wrestling coach asked me to come out. And my mom, she liked to do shared decision making. And I know you educators have heard that terminology before. She would make a decision and share it with me. It wasn't shared. So she basically said, Raymond, you can do chores or you wrestle. That was an easy one because she had an unending list of chores. And there was no women's work or men's work back in those days. My mother, she trained us real well. So, however, when I looked at this, these were the toughest guys, wrestlers. Brentwood was a great wrestling town. I never viewed myself as being one of the tough guys, but I was a survivor. I kept running, that's why I survived. If I stopped running, I was in trouble. We received free passes to go see the high school wrestle, and I used to go. I went 3 or 4 times, and then we met, the team was wrestling Lindenhurst. I didn't know much about it, but Lindenhurst and Amityville were 2 schools that were big rivals to Brentwood. But everybody said, you got to go to the Lindenhurst match. Well, I went to the Lindenhurst match, and I got there, and it kind of changed everything for me. I arrived at the high school, and it was standing room only by the time halfway through the JV meet. It was huge. I had people standing all over the place. Out in the hall, there were people out in the hallways who could not get in the gym, but would listen for the scores. Coach Moyer, you probably remember those days. And the match went right down to heavyweight. And our heavyweight reversed the kid in the last 5 seconds, and we won the match by 1 point. That was when Mr. Joseph Campbell, my high school coach, came into my life. Because I saw that guy and said, well, that's the guy I'm going to have to connect with. This man was a second father, and he and his family laid the groundwork for what sports and coaching are about. I never met a more selfless man other than my father. I was hooked. But these were the baddest boys in town. They were the Brentwood wrestlers. Something I ended up being, somehow I ended up being one of those guys. Even though I was thinking I could never be good enough, it's amazing what a sporting cast can do with your self-esteem. Sports always allowed me to escape beyond that mat. Because all the other stuff that's going on during teenage years is tough. And when you're worried about, whether you fit it or not, this is the one chance you can be out on that mat or on the football field or baseball field, and you can do your thing. And then again, I ask, how lucky can I be? However, a very important lesson I learned back in the States my senior year after I lost in the semifinals. I was so bummed out because I knew that I should have won. That I basically didn't care about the conference finals match and gave no effort. I didn't roll over and get pinned, but I probably should have rolled over and got pinned with the effort I put forth. I embarrassed my coach, I embarrassed my family, I embarrassed my teammates, and I embarrassed myself. That was the day I started to realize everything does matter. And your best effort, no matter what, is expected. And that's what I share with my wrestlers. As disappointed as you are, you got to go on. I wrestled in college at SUNY Farmington, and then at the University of Rhode Island. I could not have asked for better coaches than Coach Hartman and Coach Miro. I'd like them to stand up at this moment. Coach Hartman's 83 years old. Please stand up, Coach. And Coach Miro. As I talk about the project that was Great Miro, you can also picture in your head the 14 years old to the 26. So, and they had the opportunity to work with me during that time. Their support and leadership was just what I needed. And believe me, when I say that there was no walk in the park at that time, I'm not kidding. They had their hands full. Coach Hartman probably felt that at times he was doing juvenile delinquent shuttles to our meets. but he never relented in his support and steadiness in coaching us to be better people. We were in junior college, we were a little wild. It wasn't the only one, but it definitely helped in the whole process. Coach Miro, dealing with me at practice at times, was probably not always delightful. I was a hard worker, but in my 2 years at URI, I garnered the best personality in practice by a landslide. That meant there was not a happy camper in practice, so he had to deal with me and be there. I was a hard worker, like I said. There was poor Johnny Stallo. He's still my friend to this day. I love that guy. He's a great workout partner, but early on it was not very nice. But he always tells me it was worth it. So. They all understood the importance of leadership and understanding that we were all different. They were outstanding role models. How lucky you could have been. Coaching for me has always been about the culture of the team and helping kids to go beyond the sport, becoming ladies and gentlemen, good character, ethical behavior, and becoming better than they thought they would ever be. I know that this success will be measured long after their high school days, and it will revolve around their families and their work ethic that was helped along by wrestling. I'm not preaching here to tell you that we've always been perfect. I certainly haven't been perfect, and I'm still learning at 61, but we're getting there. My coaches always preached that type of thing and led by example, class structure and caring about people. There's nothing more sad than a kid leaving the sport with only statistics received on the mat. It is a team sport that includes everyone, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. It's not just the stars. You don't have to be a star to reap the benefits. It's getting those wrestlers to divide the storm, which is the sport of wrestling. It's getting up one more time and getting knocked down. This is what builds resiliency and helps you learn about adversity. I have a short story here about my college days. I was a senior in college. The previous year I lost in the finals to the Collegiate New England's. Pretty upset about it, but it happened. My nemesis, Dennis Fenton, was over there. Great guy, great friend, that never got between us, his competition. But I went to work after that season, and I worked hard. I was in shape. I was the best shape I'd ever been. It was my senior year. And in practice, probably the second week of practice, Coach Miro calls me downstairs to his office. So I'm co-captain of the team, and Scott Pacino, and I go down, and he breaks the news to me. I am ineligible to wrestle. Ineligible because as a freshman, I left Wilkes College, and then I ended up in junior college, and you could not redshirt freshman, and you couldn't wrestle that fifth year. You couldn't be a fifth-year senior. And so I was devastated. Coach worked at it, and he got me to be able to wrestle third year. But Coach Miro was always a guy that believed. He would tell you, what are you going to be when the cheers stop? You get out there on the mat, you compete. Rhode Island was a great place, great opportunity. I was really lucky. And he just, that's what he told us. You got to think beyond that. He consoled me that day, as the news was devastating after all the work I put in. Hence my mantra that I share with my athletes and people like. If losing a match is the worst thing that happens to you in life, you will have a good life. In the end, it's about getting those kids to be better than they thought they would be. It's all about the relationships you develop. Be hard and be consistent. Have fun. Laugh. Because if you always have that game face, you may not get the message across. In retrospect, sometimes you need to slow down and enjoy what you're doing. The bus trips, practice, chilling with teammates, and your competition. You should meet other people. Wrestling's a great sport for that. You're in a tournament, from morning till night. If you're not talking to the other wrestlers from the other team, there's something wrong with it. You got to get out there. You got to talk, meet new people. I love chilling with coaches and just enjoying myself. And I hear this other thing that wrestling has changed so much. Well, we had a guy on our high school team. He was a couple years older than me, and I wrestled with his brother. It's Carl Adams. He had the best high cross I've ever seen and ever seen since then. There's no one who hit a better high cross than that. Not today, not ever. It was perfect. He invented that takedown machine. Pete Galley was great with cradles. Dave Larachi, great. They talk about funk. our coach used to have a heart attack because he'd watch our kid roll on his back and it's getting all work. They would always come out on top because he's that funky type wrestler. And, you know, so things really, the basic foundation of wrestling is still the same. You know, there's not a whole lot. There's different styles and things that people put forth, but it's really wrestling. Parents have changed. That's one thing that has changed, and it's changed because parents have to work. Both people have to work. There's very few families that one person has to work. My mom was always home. That's why she did all that shared decision making. So it was, you know, that was it. But parents have to do a lot more things. So basically what you got to do, you need to adjust or you'll be lost. Don't lose your foundation, but sometimes you have to try a different path to help your wrestlers achieve their goals. Bottom line, everything matters. Every little thing. Don't tell me that because the kid, the ref made a bad call and the kids, you know, it's a tough match. It's not their whole life. They will recover if you allow them to. Greatest of all for wrestling is my circle of friends through my years of experience in the sport. Although some of my good friends will tell me I really have no friends, that they paid them all, but it's okay. I love this sport. I will go off and talk to anybody. I have fun. I have conversations. Love watching other kids wrestle. It's a great sport. There's no greater brotherhood or sisterhood in this that a sport can provide. And again, I ask you, how would you think that I mean? Thank you to all of you. Because of you, my life has been much richer. I love you all. Thank you.